hair. It's more than protein strands. It's identity, youth, confidence, history. When it begins to fall, it feels personal. Almost like time itself is etching its signature on our bodies. But here's the paradox that has puzzled millions. How can a man lose hair on the top of his head, yet grow thick hair on his chin or back? How can a woman's hairline remain intact, while the crown slowly thins like fading memories? This isn't random. There's a pattern. In men, it's typically a receding or thinning crown. In women, it's diffuse thinning through the center part. This signature shape has a name: androgenic pattern hair loss. And deeper than the surface, a complex story unfolds, one of hormones, oxygen, inflammation, and time. To truly understand, we must zoom in, beneath the scalp. Every hair emerges from a follicle, a small but powerful microenvironment. The follicle isn't just a hole where hair grows, it's a living factory with its own blood supply, oxygen demand, and energetic machinery. And at its heart, mitochondria, the energy engines of life. These tiny power plants determine whether hair thrives or dies. But something changes with age. Hormones shift. Testosterone, present in both men and women, slowly declines. However, a more potent version of testosterone, DHT, dihydrotestosterone, often rises. DHT is like testosterone's stronger, more aggressive brother. And unfortunately, hair follicles, especially on the scalp, are highly sensitive to it. As DHT accumulates, the follicle begins to suffocate. Oxygen drops. Inflammation rises. Over time, scar tissue forms around the follicle, sealing its fate. The scalp becomes shiny, not from oil, but from fibrosis, a silent battlefield of cells that have given up. At first, hairs grow thinner, then weaker, then nothing. But wait, if aging is the reason, why do some 60-year-olds have full, thick hair, while others go bald in their 20s? If it were only genetics, why can identical twins experience different hair outcomes depending on their lifestyle? This is where the mystery deepens. This is not just about age, not just about genes. There's another force at play, one powerful enough to turn hormones against us and starve the follicle from within. And if we uncover it, we can reverse the process. The journey begins. Hormones are the silent architects of the human body. They sculpt jawlines, deepen voices, regulate mood, shape metabolism, and yes, determine whether hair lives or dies. But unlike dramatic villains, hormones rarely act alone. They influence each other in complex, elegant chains of cause and effect. As we age, something subtle but critical happens. Testosterone goes down, but DHT goes up. At first glance, it makes no sense. How can the weaker hormone decrease while the more potent version increases? The answer lies in an enzyme, 5-alpha reductase, that converts testosterone into DHT. In some people, this enzyme becomes more active with age or stress, meaning that even with less testosterone, more of it gets converted into DHT. The result? Hair follicles are exposed to a more aggressive hormone, even when total testosterone looks normal on a lab test. DHT is powerful, 2 to 3 times stronger than testosterone in how it binds to receptors. Inside the follicle, it acts like a slow poison, shrinking the hair root over time. Each hair cycle becomes shorter, each strand becomes thinner. Eventually, the follicle can no longer produce a visible hair. It's not dead, but it's dormant, like a factory shut down by an invisible hand. This is pattern baldness. But here's where most people stop. They say, it's just genetics. It's just aging. But that's only part of the truth. Because if age alone caused hair loss, everyone would go bald. If genetics alone caused hair loss, nothing could be done. Yet we see the opposite every day. One man in his 60s has a thick head of hair. Another in his 30s is bald. One woman maintains volume into menopause, while another thins in her 20s after chronic stress or poor diet. Why? Because genetics don't guarantee your fate. They simply determine how sensitive your body is to the environment you create. Genes load the gun, hormones pull the trigger. But lifestyle aims the gun. Even medical treatments for hair loss, like DHT-blocking drugs, prove this point. Yes, they help some people regrow hair, but they also come with life-altering side effects. Low libido, depression, erectile dysfunction, because they shut down hormones everywhere, not just in the scalp. So, we must ask a deeper question. Why is the body producing so much DHT in the first place? Why is 5-alpha reductase so active? What is driving the hormonal imbalance beneath the surface? We are about to uncover the true mastermind behind hair loss, one that affects nearly every modern human and reaches far beyond the scalp. And once you see it, you'll never look at metabolism the same way again. What if the true cause of hair loss isn't just hormones, but metabolism? What if balding is not a problem of the scalp, but a warning sign from deep within the body? Let's strip away the surface and look at the core. The most powerful driver of elevated DHT is not age, not genes. It's insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is when your cells stop listening to insulin, the hormone that regulates blood sugar. When insulin rises too often, from sugar, refined carbs, stress, constant eating, the body becomes numb to it. And to compensate, the pancreas pumps out even more insulin, turning the body into a storm of hormonal chaos. Here's how it destroys your hair from the inside out. Insulin resistance activates the enzyme, 5-alpha reductase, that converts testosterone into DHT, flooding the scalp with the very hormone that suffocates follicles. It damages the liver, the organ responsible for balancing hormones. When the liver is overworked, it can't properly regulate testosterone, causing more free testosterone to circulate. And guess what? More free testosterone equals more DHT. It raises inflammation and oxidative stress, which directly injure the follicle ecosystem. It worsens blood flow, reducing oxygen and nutrient delivery to the scalp. Suddenly, hair loss isn't just a cosmetic issue. It's a metabolic warning light. This is why hair thinning often appears alongside weight gain, fatigue, acne, PCOS, fatty liver, or low energy. The body is whispering, something deeper is wrong. Historically, this wasn't common. Our ancestors rarely experienced insulin resistance. They didn't snack all day, drink sugary beverages, or live sedentary lives. Their hormones fluctuated naturally. Their mitochondria thrived. Their follicles were well fed. Modern life changed everything. We live in a world where sugar is addictive, stress is constant, sleep is broken, and meals never stop. The metabolic machinery overloads, and silently, insulin resistance creeps in, decades before a doctor ever diagnoses diabetes. But the most profound truth is this: insulin resistance is reversible. We can lower insulin. We can calm 5-alpha reductase. We can restore hormonal balance without wrecking the body with side effects. This is not theory. This is biochemistry. And when metabolism heals, hair often begins to revive. But there's a catch. Even if we lower DHT, even if insulin improves, the follicle itself may still be damaged, suffocated, inflamed, covered in microscopic scar tissue. You can't grow seeds in dead soil. To truly reverse hair loss, we must go deeper. We must travel into the follicle's environment and bring it back to life. The battle for hair survival has just begun. Imagine the hair follicle as a tiny forest ecosystem, full of life, growth, and renewal. It needs rich nutrients, oxygenated blood, active stem cells, and high-energy mitochondria to thrive. But under chronic hormonal stress, especially from DHT and insulin resistance, this fertile landscape slowly becomes a wasteland. Here's the sequence of destruction. 1. Oxygen drops. DHT constricts tiny blood vessels around the follicle. Less blood flow means less oxygen, a condition called hypoxia. Follicles suffocate in silence. 2. Inflammation ignites. Low oxygen triggers an inflammatory response. The immune system believes there is damage, so it rushes in. Cytokines flood the area. Redness, irritation, micro-damage begins. 3. Scar tissue forms. Inflammation activates a repair process, fibrosis. The body lays down collagen like concrete, trying to fix the area. But this repair becomes a prison. The follicle is trapped, its structure rigid and unresponsive. 4. Stem cells go to sleep. Deep in the follicle, live stem cells, the architects of new hair growth. But in a toxic, oxygen-starved environment, they go dormant. They're not gone, just silent. 5. The scalp becomes shiny. That shine isn't oil, it's scar tissue reflecting light. Evidence of a dead battlefield. This is why many people lose hope. Even if you block DHT, the soil is still damaged. Even if you take supplements, the follicle can't absorb them. Even if hair transplants are done, they only work if the follicle comes with it. Doctors can move hair, but they cannot force soil to bloom. And here lies the breakthrough. The secret to reversing hair loss is not just stopping damage, it's rebuilding the ecosystem. Think of a dry, cracked field that hasn't seen rain in years. Simply removing weeds won't make grass grow again. You must aerate the soil, bring in oxygen, restore nutrients, awaken dormant life. Hair loss is not a surface issue. It is an environmental collapse at the microscopic level. And to restore it, we must reawaken the follicle, break the scar tissue, flood it with oxygen, resurrect the mitochondria, and remind the stem cells that life can grow here again. Up until now, most solutions only addressed the symptoms. But what if we could repair the terrain itself? It turns out we can. And the first step is surprisingly physical, almost primal, like digging our hands into the earth and breaking it open to let life back in. That step is mechanical stimulation. If the follicle is soil, scarred, compacted, starved of oxygen, then the first step to revival is simple. We must break it open. We must wake it up. This is where one of the most overlooked but powerful therapies enters the story. Mechanical stimulation. Some people instinctively massage their scalp, and yes, even this can help. But the most effective technique, proven in multiple studies, is microneedling. Microneedling is not about hair. It's about healing. Tiny needles create micro-injuries in the scalp, and the body responds the only way it knows how, by activating repair. Blood flow increases. Oxygen rushes in. Growth factors are released. Scar tissue begins to break down. Stem cells, long dormant, are jolted awake. It's like tilling hardened soil, so water and nutrients can seep back in, so seeds of life can sprout again. But awakening alone is not enough. Imagine turning on a factory after years of shutdown. If the engines are broken, nothing will run. And deep inside the follicle, inside every cell, lives the mitochondria, the batteries of the hair. They generate the energy required to build the hair shaft, push it upward, and sustain its growth cycle. But under stress, inflammation, and hormonal assault, these mitochondria weaken. They fragment. they produce less energy. To grow hair, we must recharge the engines. This is where one of the most promising therapies in modern regenerative medicine comes in. Red and near-infrared light therapy, 630 to 850 nanometers. This isn't science fiction. It's photobiomodulation. When specific wavelengths of red light penetrate the scalp, they are absorbed by the mitochondria, specifically by an enzyme called cytochrome C oxidase. When this enzyme absorbs light, something extraordinary happens. ATP, cellular energy, production increases. Inflammation decreases. Stem cells activate. Blood flow improves. Follicles re-enter the growth phase. NASA originally studied red light therapy to help astronauts heal in space. Today, it's being tested for everything from wound healing to vision repair. And yes, multiple clinical trials show it can stimulate hair regrowth. Think of microneedling as breaking the ground, and red light as the sun that feeds the new life. Together, they create a powerful synergy. Wake the stem cells, break the scar tissue, restore the energy, revive the follicle. But we are not done, because oxygen and energy are just two pieces of the puzzle. To truly regrow hair, we must nourish the scalp with powerful natural compounds, increase circulation, calm inflammation, and target DHT where it matters most. We are about to layer the final weapons, botanical, nutritional, and biochemical tools that work with the body instead of against it. This is where ancient remedies meet modern science. In the battle for hair survival, circulation is life. Every strand of hair is built from nutrients carried through a microscopic river system of blood vessels. But in pattern hair loss, these vessels narrow. Oxygen declines. The follicle starves. This is why one of the most common hair medications, Rogaine, minoxidil, doesn't block DHT at all. It opens blood vessels. It's a vasodilator, forcing more circulation into the scalp so hair can grow. But what if nature has an equal or even superior ally? Enter rosemary oil. This humble herb has been used for centuries to heal wounds and stimulate circulation. Modern research now confirms something astonishing. Rosemary oil performed as well as minoxidil in clinical trials, without the side effects. But rosemary does more than improve blood flow. It also lowers DHT, reduces inflammation, and protects mitochondria. It's like combining three therapies into one botanical powerhouse. And rosemary is just one tool in nature's arsenal. To regrow hair, the body needs three things: fuel, protection, and balance. 1. Fuel. Essential nutrients. Certain nutrients are like the rocket fuel of hair growth. Zinc, crucial for stem cell activation and hormonal balance. Vitamin D regulates the hair growth cycle and immune system. Low levels are strongly linked to hair loss. Iron, especially heme iron, critical for oxygen delivery to follicles. Copper and selenium support collagen, elastin, and antioxidant defense. Without these, the follicle has no building blocks, even if hormones and circulation are perfect. 2. Protection. Anti-inflammatory allies. Inflammation is the silent killer of follicles. Powerful natural compounds help calm this internal fire. Quercetin, onions, reduces inflammation and protects blood vessels. Sauerkraut phytonutrients. Over 600 plant compounds fight oxidative stress and improve immunity. Antioxidants from plants like green tea, EGCG, protect mitochondria and reduce DHT. 3. Balance. Natural DHT modulators. Instead of shutting down hormones like synthetic drugs do, these botanicals gently regulate DHT activity. Saw palmetto, classic 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. Pumpkin seed oil, clinically shown to improve hair growth in men. Peppermint oil, incredibly potent for increasing follicle depth and growth rate. EGCG from green tea protects follicles and reduces androgen sensitivity. Layer by layer, We are rebuilding the follicle's world. Restore oxygen. Awaken stem cells. Recharge mitochondria. Improve circulation. Provide fuel. Reduce inflammation. Balance hormones naturally. But now comes the final, most personal piece of the puzzle. The food we eat every day. Because the ultimate medicine for hair might actually be on your plate. In the next part, we reveal the single most powerful meal for hair regeneration, backed by deep nutritional biochemistry, and uncover the foundational truth that ties everything together. Sometimes, the most powerful medicine isn't found in a bottle, but on a plate. Imagine a single meal that delivers the exact nutrients hair follicles crave to regenerate: minerals to build structure, antioxidants to calm inflammation, healthy fats to balance hormones, and compounds that naturally lower DHT. Not a supplement, not a drug, a meal. Here it is: liver, onions, sauerkraut, pumpkin seeds. This may seem unconventional, but biologically, it is a masterpiece. Liver, the hair superfood. Liver is nature's multivitamin. It contains heme iron, the most absorbable form to boost oxygen delivery to follicles, zinc and copper, essential for stem cell activation and collagen formation, selenium and B vitamins, mitochondrial support and DNA repair. In ancient cultures, liver was sacred. Warriors, kings, and healers ate it for strength. Today, science explains why. It fuels the very factories that produce hair. Onions, the anti-inflammatory warrior. Onions are loaded with quercetin, one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds on Earth. It improves circulation, protects blood vessels, and reduces the immune-driven inflammation that suffocates follicles. Historically, onion juice was used in Ayurvedic and Egyptian hair rituals, and modern studies confirm it stimulates hair growth. Sauerkraut, the gut-to-scalp connection. Why fermented cabbage? Because hair health begins in the gut. A damaged microbiome means poor nutrient absorption and chronic inflammation. Sauerkraut repairs the gut lining and delivers probiotics for immune balance, up to 700 milligrams of vitamin C per half cup, fuel for collagen production and antioxidant defense, over 600 phytonutrients that support detoxification and lower DHT. Pumpkin seeds, the natural DHT blocker. Pumpkin seeds and their oil are proven 5-alpha reductase inhibitors, lowering DHT without harming libido or hormones elsewhere. They also supply magnesium, zinc, and plant sterols, all vital for hair growth. This meal isn't trendy. It's ancestral wisdom meeting modern science. But even with the perfect meal, even with microneedling, red light therapy, rosemary oil, zinc, vitamin D, and DHT modulation, there is still one foundational truth we cannot escape. At the root of hair loss is insulin resistance. It is the silent trigger that activates enzymes, disrupts hormones, chokes blood flow, and ignites inflammation. Fixing insulin resistance doesn't just help hair, it transforms the entire body. Clearer skin, better energy, sharper mind, stable mood, restored metabolisms. Even longevity. Hair is not just cosmetic. It is a biological status report, a mirror of internal health. When the body is inflamed, stressed, and metabolically imbalanced, the hair is one of the first systems to shut down. Because hair is not essential for survival, it becomes the canary in the coal mine. But here's the hope. Hair can return when the environment is restored. Follicles can reawaken. Months, even years later. Stem cells can regenerate. The body wants to heal if we give it the blueprint. And now you have that blueprint. Rebuild the soil, feed the stem cells, restore energy, calm inflammation, balance hormones naturally, and above all, reverse insulin resistance. Because when metabolism heals, everything else follows. This isn't just about hair. It's about reclaiming your health, your confidence, your vitality from the inside out.